In this video, I want to go over a browser known as the Ulaa Browser. Now, if you found the video on YouTube, I will provide a link below the video that has a description and a lot of screenshots of the browser and how to install it on your system. But before I do, if you're a Google Chrome user or a Microsoft Edge user, you're more inclined to use this browser. A lot of Linux users that only install open source browsers, they will probably shy away from it. Now, let's take a look very quickly at what the Ulaa browser is, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit about the open source versus proprietary. Not really comparing them as in which is the best, just to kind of give you an idea what's the difference. Now, the Ulaa browser is a proprietary browser developed on the open source Chromium technology by the Zoho Corporation. So if you ever use the Zoho products that's equivalent to Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, and they even have their online calendar, there used to be a free version, and I think they have a paid version now of that. Ulaa claims to be a privacy-first browser, so if you click on that, you'll see that they really do brag about being privacy. It says, and I'm not going to read all of that, and I'll talk more about the privacy a little later. And they do collect some anonymous stats, and they're open about that, but it's to help them. If you click on this, it talks about what stats that they collect, so they're very open about the information that they get from you. You do have the option of going in the settings and disabling the stats that's collected by them. Now, before I show you how to install that, let's talk a little bit about proprietary. Now, proprietary means it's closed source. It's not open source software that allows you to view the source or remake or fork the software into something different. So there's really nothing wrong with that. I come from the Windows environment, and I didn't choose Linux just because it was open source. I did it because I couldn't upgrade to a newer type of operating system, and plus I kept getting a lot of blue screens, and I'm not going to get into the reason why I switched to Linux, but I do have some or quite a bit of close or proprietary software on my system. I do have the Microsoft Edge. I do use Google Chrome. So I'm not totally against proprietary software. Now, for people that says I don't like proprietary software, if you use the Steam client to play games online, that is proprietary software. Not the Steam OS, but the client itself that you install that allows you to play video games. Other popular proprietary software is like WPS Office, where you use like the equivalent of Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. A lot of Linux users do have that on their system. DaVinci Resolve, if you're installing to do video editing, if you're recording your screen or your image from your camera, you may use the DaVinci Resolve to edit that. That is proprietary software. So I'm giving you examples. And Lightworks, it's a very popular video editing software as well. For those of you that edit PDF file, this is a master PDF editor. It's proprietary. It's great software, but it's proprietary software. For those of you that like to play online games or just games in general, there's a lot of games that can install on Linux that is proprietary software, and this is one of those examples. In the past, I don't use it now, but in the past I have used ViewScan. When I initially switched over from Windows to Linux, I used this because it was hard to find a driver for the scanner that I used back during that time, so I did put this on my system that allowed me to scan. I don't use this anymore, but this is proprietary software. The Photo Flare, which is very similar to the Penta that I use, I don't use Photo Flare. I do have it on my system. Sometimes I use it just to keep up with how to use it, but this is proprietary software. One more, which is 3D rendering software. These are just some examples of proprietary software that can work on a Linux system. So for a lot of Linux users that says I don't want to use this browser because it's proprietary, they may have some proprietary software on their system and not realize it. Now let's get into how to install it. So if you're not afraid of it because it's proprietary, you can go to the ulaa.com, and if you're a Windows user, just like a lot of websites that I've covered in the past with browsers, when you click on that, it will download it for your platform. This will sense what type of operating system you have. Now, one thing that when you click for Linux, it will show you a little user a lot because it is proprietary. When you accept and download, you accept an agreement, it will come up with instructions on how to install it on your system, and it will start downloading it to the browser that you're downloading its download folder, or where you choose to download it from. So one thing I want to point out on my website is, here's your little agreement that I just showed you, and then it says open your terminal and run the below command. One thing here that I recommend is you to go to the download folder on your system where it will be downloading, and because you need to run a script, you're going to open your terminal by right click and say open in the terminal. And the reason I recommend doing that is you don't have to change the directory to your download folder. It's the active directory, so anything that you run on will that script will run on the command that you're downloading. So watch when I close this out. Here's what I showed you, open your terminal. When you put this script into your browser, and that's the script that you would have got from the website, when you run it in there, it's going to run that command on the file that was downloaded into that download folder. So I wanted to point that out, and then I'm not going to do it now. Here's what's going to be shown on your screen. You'll be prompted, do you want to continue? You press yes, and then when it's finished, it will go back to your prompt. You're ready then to close it out. If it don't show up within your menu, as you can see, it will show up in the menu here. If it doesn't show up in your menu, reboot your system, and it should be shown up in your menu. I'll come back to this in just a moment. Now, I do have lots of screenshots because the first time you use it, it will be like most browsers. It'll say, welcome to the browser. In this case, is Ulaa. Let's explore. You click the Let's Explore button. The thing I like about this browser is it comes with different workspaces. Like you can choose by default is the personal, and you can customize the personal. It's very customizable, and you can switch modes between kids modes. And when you click kids mode, you can put a password in there if you're a parent, and you can choose what your kids or your children can access and what blocks out where they don't have permission to. And if they try to go up here and choose a different mode, they can't unless they put that master password in. Now, open season, that means you can look up anything you want. There's no restriction on it. Workspace is where you can customize it to the links that you use at work. So when you're at home, you probably don't want to look at the links you use at work, so you can go to your personal one. Now, when I taught middle school science, I used startpages.us. Now, you can go within this and choose to create a new page and switch pages like from your personal links, and you can choose like your work links. I had it set up a little different. I use my personal email address to log into this to access the things that I personally use. Then I had one set with my school email address. I had links that I want to do at school. So I could use the same browser, but rather than using another service, this is kind of built within that. When you go to personal, it has the links that you set up for your personal browser. When you switch over to work, you can have the links that you do with work. So that way that you're not using bombarding with a lot of things on your screen. You can keep your personal life separated from your work. And when you go in incognito, just like any other browser, it's not going to let you see the links that's on your personal and work. It will kind of be, everything is more private there. Here's where you create your passwords, so when you're accessing the kids, and when you get out of the mode and when you go into the mode, you'll put that password in, so that way when you put your kids into it, they can click the links, and you can edit these links, you can change them around. I'll show you in just a few moments. But when you click on to go out of kids, to click that link there, you have to put in like the master password, so that way your kids can't use this browser to click and to get into different modes. Yeah, I know they can click other browsers that you have on there, but if you only allow them to use this browser, then that way it keeps it more kids friendly if you do have kids. And you can disable those modes, and I'll show you in just a few moments. Open season mode, there's basically no restrictions whatsoever, and I'm not going to go and read all of these. These shows you the different modes. Now here's the personal mode. I realized that I didn't really have a personal mode after I modified it and customized it to look like this. I thought, well, I took it out of my personal mode. You can highlight over these and remove these, or you can highlight and change them where you have as many links, like with the start pages, where you can put your custom link, so when you click onto it, it will go to that particular website. So it's very similar to the Start Me website, except you're using the links within that particular browser. It's almost like the little links that you have within most browsers that you install now. The only difference is you can change modes, and it will change the links, and it will keep up with the stats as you begin to use them. Not only can you click here, you can click at the bottom to change the modes as well. Now you can go and choose to add folders, add bookmarks, and things within the side. You can choose to sign in. You don't have to create an account, but like to personalize, like if you log in with the Ulaa browser on another system, you can import all of those to it without creating them. So that's the purpose on, or a good reason for having a username and password. I used to have one. I used the calendar in the past, so I already had a username and password, so I didn't have to create it. So to keep your notes, especially if you're using them on another system, the notes are stored online. So and the notes can be customized as well. So you can log in, type your notes up, you can add another note, you can add as many notes, you can change the text color, the background color by going to the bottom, choosing the text color, and you can change the different font. And you can put different folders to where you're putting your notes in. So it does have a little built-in notes, so it's great for students, or if you're creating a shopping list or whatever you want to put as notes, you don't have to go and open up your notes pad or whatever type of note software that you have. When you click on the hamburger menu on the top, it shows you your typical menu, and since this is a fork of Chromium, it looks very similar to your Google Chrome and Chromium type browsers. So I'm not going to go through every single menu, but as you can see here, I do compare the menu that's within the Ulaa browser compared with the Google Chrome. They do have very similar ones. There are some that's slightly different, and that's because, like I said, it is proprietary, but you can go in here and you can go into privacy. You can turn off a lot of the things that they do collect. You do have the choices to do that. I do have screenshots of every menu, and I'm not going to go through every single one of them and read those. It will take a long time, but I do have extensions and show you where the ones that I recommend. You can change the extensions just like you do in Google Chrome and the Chromium type browsers. It does have great ad blocker, and you can customize to look like anything that you want. Now, before I go and show you the Ulaa browser, since I've installed it, and it was just last week when I installed it, it has gotten 2 updates. This morning it got an update, and a few days ago when the Google Chrome got an update, it got an update. So it is a very active web browser. Now let me minimize this, and let me minimize or close out my terminal, and let me open up the actual Ulaa itself. Here it's on the personal. You can change to kids mode, and you have to put your password in to get to kids mode and to get out of kids mode. So that way, if you're letting your children use this particular browser, if they click up here, they have to put the password in to change the mode. So you can put all sorts of restrictions in, and when you're in your personal mode, you can go into preferences and add links that you want, or you can change the way that the kids view or use this particular browser. So as you can see here, some of the favorites that most kids use across the internet and some games that are allowed. You can add more to them. You can hover over it or go into the settings and put your password in and change what you see within the kids mode. Now when I change again, you have to change it by putting the password in, hit enter, and this will allow you to go back to your personal mode. You can change to your work mode, and this is what most of them looks like. The personal one looked like this, but it was a gray background and had sites here. As you can see with the kids modes, they can't hover over it like I was going to show you. You have to put your password in. You can control what your children see. You can add links to it or delete links. Like if I wanted to change the Google, I could say edit that, remove that, open a new tab, open a new window. So I can go and remove these. I can add more to it. And then as I begin to use this, it will collect statistics with this, or you can change your modes down here. Now I don't really use the work mode. Originally I had these turned off. Open season, there's no restrictions whatsoever on this. So there's no, as you can see, I had previously installed add-ons. So when you install add-ons to it, like in my personal ones, they're not applying themselves to all of them. So this is like opening up a different browser completely, but it's staying within this particular browser. So if at work you want to choose extensions that you may have on your work computer, you can put the extensions just for this particular browser. So when I go back to incognito, again, everyone knows that incognito mode, it doesn't remember anything that your browser is using. It's just the safe mode, kind of like when you're using the browser. It's kind of like hiding yourself, so when you get done using it, put it back in personal mode. It doesn't keep any tracks of where you've been on the internet. So let me get out of this mode, close incognito, and I go back up in here and go back to my personal, which is here. I don't have those links because I went into the settings and changed those. Let me go into my preferences, and here's where you can go through and make the changes. You can add your passwords. Now since I use a password manager, I don't save any passwords to this. You can import if you do have them within your other browsers, just like you do when you first install those. When you first install it, you have the standard protection or more extreme protection. You can even come in here and customize it. I choose the standard one, and I do add add-ons to make it safer. You can block fingerprinting, annoying elements removal. Now that I have turned off. I haven't turned it on and compared those. To block out social media filters, the crypto mining protection, network protection. You can do the security safety check like you can on the Chromium type browsers. Auto compete searches. You can come in here and change those. You can say clear browsing data, basic and advanced. You can tell how often you want to clear it, and you can reset back to the default. Your appearance, it's at the default, but I do have some changes in here, but I'm not going to go through and show you all the changes that I've done. You can change your search engine. You can choose what you see on startup. So you can start it to a particular page, and that's where I do have it set, and I do have it set to go to DuckDuckGo. So when I first open it up, it goes to that site, and then within here, I customized it to, you can go into the settings here to customize the way that your DuckDuckGo looks, so that way it has the basic appearance instead of the little things that it recommends and adds underneath that. So that's my customize. You can change the language. You can choose where your default download folder is. You can have some accessibility features and allows you to put the accessibility add-ons from the Google Chrome store. You can reset everything back to the default. And here's auto mode switching. Like if you're in personal mode and you put a work mode, it will automatically sense that you're putting a URL for work if you add that link to it, and it will change modes for you, so you don't have to hit drop down and switch that manually. When you do go to one of the links that you have associated with a different mode, it will change that mode for you. Here's the kids mode. Here's where you can go and add or block URLs that you know that you want blocked from your kids list. So you have the ability to block out things when your kids are using the kids section. Here's some additional browser settings so that you can go in there and change those. You can make it your default browser, which I haven't done, and I probably won't do that. Here's where you can install extensions or add extensions to that. For some reason it's not coming up. I don't know why it's not. There it did. I just guess I was not clicking it far enough. But when you click on the extensions, it will load just like in Google Chrome, allowing you to disable the extensions up here or to remove them or get more details about them. Now you can go to the Google Chrome extension. I do have links on my website, so you can go and choose extensions to click and add it. And when instead of saying added to Chrome, it will say adding to the Ulaa browser. Now I'm not going to get into a lot. The thing that makes this one special compared to Chrome and Microsoft Edge browser is you do have these personal modes rather than setting up different browsers for different things or logging into something like StartMe with different accounts or creating different sites for those. So you can customize those. You can actually go into your preferences and turn those modes off so that it stays on personal mode. But I don't mind them being there. It's not removing anything from the system, so it's not saving any space by personal mode. So if you're not afraid of using proprietary software on your system, you might want to give Ulaa a try. You may like it, you may not. I just like to give individuals the choices and show that they do have more choices to install. Not only on your Linux system, you can install it on your Windows and Mac. Hopefully this video has been helpful to someone, and have a great day.